to think that Drew McIntyre and CM Punk are playing cat and mouse. This is like the
Right.
Tom and Jerry show. This is what's happening right now, right? This is the Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner going back and forth because even though they have not wrestled in the match yet, there's so much drama. So for Monday Night Raw in Boston, we saw that Drew McIntyre won his matchup in a great match, I thought, with Ilya Dragunov and of course Sheamus. I got a feeling that Drew McIntyre has like some momentum. I feel like that he can win Money in the Bank, but of course, somehow, some way, CM Punk will get involved.
Right.
I'm leading toward him.
So that's the intriguing part to me of this match. You look at who's in it: Jey Uso, Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, Chad Gable, LA Knight, Drew McIntyre. It's a good collection where you look at and you're like, you know what? I'm okay with everyone in this match winning except Andrade. The rest of them, you look at, you're like, any of these guys holding the briefcase, like that's a good story. I agree Drew has that momentum. I agree Drew deserves a title run. But because of the Punk part, I don't think he wins. I think Punk ultimately cost him, and that adds to their story. Then they go into SummerSlam and things like that. So when you look at who's going to win, to me, I feel like it's Jey Uso or LA Knight finally winning something big.
So Jey Uso, I think that would be my second choice, but I would like to know what that looks like because he's got to come back into the family and fight this whole thing with Bloodline versus Bloodline 2.0. I mean, yeah, I guess he could still be there doing the yeet and the glasses and holding up the briefcase, but somehow, some way, he's had to come back into this mix with Roman and Solo and everything else.
Well, so there's your storytelling. He goes to cash in, and all of a sudden, he gets a Samoan Spike or Jacob Fatu comes out there, and he loses a cash in. Then all of a sudden, you give him the moment of winning the briefcase. You don't have to put the world title on him, and now he's right back in the Bloodline story. Problem solved.
If we check it out one by one, I like Drew. I like Jey Uso as my second choice. But then for me, it gets a little murky. Even though we feel that Chad Gable should have been Intercontinental Champion, he's in a meaningful storyline, getting plenty of TV time. This whole thing with Otis and his old group and the possibility that Chad Gable is going to be attacked again by the Wyatt Six. Who knows? I think that he having the champion, an opportunity for the championship is great. Carmelo Hayes is still green to me.
Yeah.
We watch him and it's like, okay, so what's the difference between you and say Austin Theory? It's kind of like the same character, right? So maybe it's too early for him. And then LA Knight, of course, I mean, a crowd favorite. I like when he's out there. He still gets a reaction. Imagine him in this situation. Is he ready to step up to the next level? I still think that matchup against Roman and Crown Jewel hurt him a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the funny part. Like a guy like him, a guy like Jey Uso, who, as over as he is, maybe he's missing something in the ring right now. Like once the bell rings, like him as a singles guy just isn't doing it for me. Those are guys that like the briefcase would mean a lot to, but could you see them being world champion on either show? And I just don't see it with some of these guys.
No, but I think it's a good problem to have, though.
Sure.
Brian, because there were some times where it's just like, here's 4 guys, and the rest of them are just filler for the road.
Right.
But you could see Drew McIntyre. We've been seeing Drew McIntyre. We could envision him as heavyweight champion. We can see that with Jey Uso. Again, we got to see what happens with the Bloodline. But here we go with LA Knight, though. It makes me wonder if they're looking at LA Knight the way they looked at Daniel Bryan in WWE, in which the crowd's with you, but is he a guy that can carry the company? And I say, if the crowd's with you, why can't he be the guy at some point for the World Heavyweight Championship?
I guess to me, like he's just like Jey Uso. We're like over with the fans, and with the WWE, it's different. Like you're not getting a 5-star match out of those guys. And I guess in that world, I don't know if that matters, but like to me, that sort of hinders his, promise of being a world champion.
Can you get a 5-star match out of Jey Uso? I think what it needs to happen is for us to see him more often in that situation in big singles matches. I know people listening and watching are like, wait, what about this match? However, on the biggest stage, he and his brother laid an egg.
Yes, they did.